In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hola, bon dia, Munson. Well, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show and podcast, and I'm dabbling on Substack. And you can see me, screen left here, Captain Casa. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
A bit uncomfortable. I'm
Better
actually
get my mic position correct.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sat on a tennis ball at the suggestion of one of my advisors, my vitality and fitness advisors.
Can I
It's meant to be good for men's health.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've got to tell everybody watching this program that he just offered me the chance before he told me the complete explanation of what he did with his tennis ball. And he said, smell that.
That is not how it went.
If that smells like a pelvis, right? So I did smell it.
So...
And I thought, well, it's a bit pelvisy, isn't it?
Top notes. That's not how I recall.
Right. And then he went and sat on the tennis ball. And that's, well, I don't know why.
Thank goodness it was in that order. Now, if you haven't stopped watching already, Captain Casa,
please stop watching.
You have been warned. I'm crying and sniffling with laughter already. We haven't even started recording the serious matter of country, coast, or city. You wanted, in your Captain Casa capacity, nice bit of alliteration, talk about the best place to position oneself in Portugal, not on a tennis ball. I'm actually going to take it out now. He didn't say for how long, did he? Right. So, country, coast.
It's a bit rich. It's a bit rich.
Country, coast, or city, then, in terms of geographical location, because we have all of these in Portugal, of course, don't we? We have very excellent coast.
We do.
Amazing cities, world-renowned and attractive, trendy cities, and a hell of a lot of countryside as well. You've lived in all of these locations, have you not?
No. Now, this is the thing that I was thinking of when I was like thinking about this, and you and I
cogitating.
Is that I may be wrong here, but we've both lived on the coast.
Yeah.
We've both sort of lived in the central part of Portugal.
Yes.
But we've never really ventured into the metropolitan.
I've lived in south of Lisbon.
Life. Did you?
Yeah. I lived in
where?
Aroeira.
The Alentejo.
No, not that far south of Lisbon. I lived in Aroeira. And
oh, good. Where's that?
I'm thinking, where else?
That wasn't like Lisbon.
I haven't lived in urban. I've stayed quite a few times in it, but that's different, isn't it?
Why have you never ventured into the metropolitan lifestyle?
Because in the way that many people come to Portugal for a bit of peace and quiet, that's not synonymous with the good life and getting off the grid and getting out into the countryside.
See,
is it?
We're into it already.
Right, go on.
You're after the good life, so you didn't see.
I never imagined
metropolitan life, citywide, the culture, the people, the traffic,
or the coast for that matter.
Really?
I didn't imagine ever living near the coast. I thought I would be doing that thing, that stereotypical thing, sort of hippie-ish British thing of going and nursing and renovating a pile of stones in central Portugal. That's what I thought we would be doing. And nearly 8 years later, we find ourselves living all over different parts of the country, and now living on the coast, which I never had in mind. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, but it was never part of the plan.
Well, in balance, what would you prefer?
Oh my word! I do say to people who often ask me, "Do I like it here?" Meaning Sao Martinho de Porto, and we both had a very rich experience of this place.
Yeah,
I say if I spent the rest of my days here, I wouldn't be in any way disappointed. I absolutely love it.
Now, that's an amazing thing to say.
Isn't it nice to be able to say that?
Yeah. I mean, really, to say that. I mean, I did also myself when I first came here. Went down on the beach. Sun was going down. Sort of.
Elton John.
Yeah. He wasn't there. He should have been, though.
And one day,
on the
because
piano.
we've got Tony Carreira coming, who is like Portugal's Elton John, playing in Sao Martinho de Porto a little bit of...
You're joking. Tony
is on his way.
He's a bit of a god.
He's
with
a legend
Portuguese.
in Portugal.
Really, he's a sort of... what's an equivalent to Tom Jones? Or is he too suave for Tom Jones? He's a bit too suave, isn't he?
Do you know that
Des O'Connor?
tees up a really good introduction to Portuguese singing stars.
Yeah.
And giving their sort of, analogy They're not their namesake, but their similarity in a culture we know.
Well, there's always Maritza, isn't there? The fado lady.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she's very soulful and very lilting and very
Yes.
deep.
Yes.
You got a guy called Kamene as well, who's
Really?
a great fado singer. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but I actually just like the suits that he wears. To be honest with you,
Okay.
that's
Right.
just me.
Okay. But anyway, there you were. The sun was going down. San
Yes,
Martinho de
thank you
Porto.
for taking me
Yes.
back to this.
Yes,
And
yeah.
then I sat on the wall there, looked over at the bay, which is a beautiful bay, golden sunlight,
No question.
slight wind, sort of pinkish.
Oh,
sort
what,
of,
you had the feijoada?
you didn't have your tennis ball with you, did you?
Slight wind, but apart from
You
that,
have to spoil the whole image, don't you, with the tennis ball?
Start again.
So
We'll
the
edit-
sun's,
we'll edit
the
that
sun's
out
going
later.
down. Everything's sort of copper and chromium, a light wind, breeze. I'm looking about, and there's some kids playing, and the sand is
I'm
sort
there.
of silver and beautiful.
Mm.
And I'm just thinking, I've arrived.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yes.
And I did arrive for something like about 15 years.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's quite an arrival.
That's quite an arrival, isn't it?
That's quite the arrival.
So
And,
yeah,
do you know what?
I do get the coastal living vibe
Yes.
a great deal.
And I've got some pictures probably of San Martinho, which we can show a bit later on, or
Why
maybe
not?
or maybe not. Look, I'm showing you these. I'll come back to them.
Well, do we talk our way through them?
No, because that could take
Oh,
about
That's the view from the
300.
Palmeiras, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which
that
a
is one of the
fantastic
great
cafe.
views of San
Some
Martinho
great
de Porto.
pastries there too.
We'll show that in just a minute. But the San Martinho de Porto, of course, is where I came up with San Martinho de Porto syndrome, which brings us back to our topic.
Yeah. Thank you.
When we arrived here as a family, it was like, this is it. We
Yeah.
found our place.
Mhm.
Let's just stay here. This is great.
Yeah.
But fate, life took us elsewhere.
Yeah.
And San Martinho de Porto syndrome is that thing happening again. Wherever we went, we said to ourselves, wow, this is amazing. We could live here.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next place.
We could live here.
Yeah, we could live here. And then you don't need to say it eventually. You just look at each other and go,
We
yeah.
could live here.
Yes.
Can we?
And have you had that same experience? You just
Yes.
feel so comfortable and at home wherever.
I do have a very fun spot in my heart for San Martino.
Yeah, okay.
But no, you are right. There is spectacular mountain scenery. There's rivers, very verdant countryside, and then of course you've got all the coastal resorts. Even let's not forget the Algarve.
Yeah.
Which is a bit more happening. You can see a few shows and dip into a different type of culture, a bit more international. But up and down the country,
we've got it all. We've got it all.
You've got it all. I mean, just go to Porto. Porto is probably my favourite city.
You had a recent trip there, didn't you? I think
I'm always going to Porto,
Oh, okay.
and I just love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got that faded grandeur. Sort of
Not unlike
blue
ourselves.
tiles, not unlike ourselves,
Hmm.
and like a real sort of epoch has passed through the place,
Yeah.
and you can look back at the resonance of it now, with all the architecture, and it's set on obviously hills, but it's got the Douro flowing through it.
Yeah.
And I love any city that's got a decent river going through it.
Which could take us to Lisbon or Coimbra as well. The
Yep.
Mondego's amazing.
Yep.
Tejo, fantastic. So how are you going to help people decide then? Is that the angle you're taking on this? Because this is a big headache for people, isn't it?
It is
It's
a
like,
big
where
headache.
do I live? It's
Yeah.
one of the really big questions that people ask when they're moving to Portugal.
Well,
Where
you-
should I live?
I mean, really, though, I think the first piece of advice is come over for an extended time and have a look, have
Right.
a
Talk.
bloody good old look, because life is kind of reflective on everybody, and you've all got your own needs. So you need to sample some of the life here rather than looking from an abstract point of view via a computer and people telling you about it. People like you and I going, oh, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is,
Right. That's
proof is
it
in
then.
the pudding.
I will buy a house in Porto because he said it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
And now I'm really,
yeah, I want to work with you.
yeah,
That's right. You can't sleep.
you the
at night.
keys to the Tommy Porto is
So
great.
don't do that. These are just merely serving suggestions, and we're giving you a sense of the different experiences. Please put questions in the comments, and we'll come back to you on those, and we can focus further into your questions that you leave in the comments. So we'll be glad of those. But okay, so the generalities, an overview, right, of the different attractions, country, coastal city here in Portugal.
Yeah, a general overview.
Okay.
Well, what I thought I'd do is go through my list
Please
and
do. Please do.
basically discuss briefly
Right.
pros and cons. Not too many cons, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I can't really find that many. So people that waiting for cons are.
Okay, I'll promise not to interrupt too often.
No,
What I
please
can do,
do.
shall I hold it up as an auto cue?
No,
Okay, right.
I've got my
You've
my
got your
double
driving
my
glasses
my very focal glasses on now, so I
Okay.
can see the screen, see where I am, I can see my writing.
I
Okay,
see. Okay, right.
city life: Lisbon, Porto, and Coimbra. Those are the major cities. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
All right. So when you're looking at something like life in the city, you've got to look at access, and obviously access is excellent with public transport. I mean, you've been on the metro in Lisbon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a load of fun. I mean, and quite cheap to get around all day. I think it's about €6 the last time I checked.
I found that it's a lot cheaper than that.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a single price.
I went for the executive ticket.
Well, first class on the metro.
No, I just got done.
Okay. But not buying the ticket. I took the trouble to buy a rechargeable card, which I found out from Philomena the other day. You don't need to do. You can just pass your shake and vac card or whatever. What's it called?
Your multi-banco card.
Yeah, but what's that technology called where you just I can't remember what it's called, but you wave your card over if it's got and if your card is enabled to just flash it before terminals. Not all cards are. You can turn that off.
You can load up. You can get a card, can't you? You can
That's what I did.
Load it up.
Yeah, but you can just put your bank card on.
You can put your bank card in,
so you don't even need to bother.
No,
Because you have
so
to buy the
it's just-
rechargeable card.
Yeah.
And then keep recharging it. But if you just flash your
But now you just
card,
do a bit of flashing and you're through.
in and out, and then it's going to debit your card straight
And
away.
you can get to all the the sights and scenes of Lisbon, and it's pretty good, I think.
And I think it's something like 190. It's around €2 for each trip, and you can obviously buy bulk trips and a day pass and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
West of the city, not so great for the metro. You might have
Right.
to get a taxi or a bus, but it's mainly the east
Or an
side
Uber.
and south, or an Uber.
Uber's
Bolt,
pretty good in Lisbon.
Definitely. Or
That's
take
very good.
the iconic black and green local taxis.
Be seen in the black and
Pay
green.
twice as much.
Yeah, pay twice as much and get there sometime.
They are a little bit jaded, aren't
Oh,
they? It's like taxi
you
drivers the
can't say that.
world over. Like,
I'm a bit jaded.
do you do that
Bit
thing when you
black
get in a
and green.
taxi and say, "Been busy, have you today?"
No, not really.
Okay, all right. So city
É
life.
muito ocupado hoje, see?
Ooh,
Or now?
oi, oi, oi.
Oh,
Right.
not muito.
So very well connected, good transport in the cities of Portugal, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
If you want to ditch your car, that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to have a car here.
Well, I mean, you cannot really, I don't think, survive that well outside of the metropolitan areas without having some form of transport
This is
in
something
terms
Colin
of a
says,
car.
yeah. You're going to need a car. The people with
You're
the
gonna
best
need
of
a
intentions
car.
of not having a car eventually get
Yeah.
one. Okay.
It's possible. You can get around. I mean, there's good coach services, decent and very cheap.
Yes.
I was ridiculously cheap train services when you compare to other countries like the UK. I mean, you're paying a fraction, 20% probably in comparison.
Okay.
30% of the cost of the UK. So it's entirely possible to get around on the train.
Yes.
Okay. But probably for convenience, if you're in rural areas, it's probably better to get a car.
It becomes a little bit of an aggravation, doesn't it? So and I think we see most people succumbing to either a regular rental or actually just going for it and getting their own car.
Yeah.
I
think really I like buying cars, so I've got to stop buying cars.
How many is it now? Right. Okay.
How many have I got? I can't.
Coach
I've got to stop buying
personally, I wouldn't live in any of the three main cities. We still haven't visited many of the smaller ones in the centre, but at the moment, San Martinho is our favourite. How about that?
Fantastic choice.
And
do you reckon that's because of you?
I don't know. I mean, Mrs. M said to me yesterday, a lot of people live here because of you, and I'm thinking, really?
Well, they do. So you're all to blame if all goes wrong.
Yeah. That's right. I hadn't really thought that through, had I?
There's going to be a lot of people after you.
Right,
that Munson.
When I move out of Sao Martinho Bay. Right. Okay. There it is. There's a lovely picture of the town that I promised. Okay. So back to your list then.
Look at that bay.
Beautiful.
Superb.
Absolutely beautiful.
So safe as well. Okay. So also we've got to think about hospitals as well. Yeah. Now, not a lot of people know this, right?
You're a big man,
Big
you're out
man.
of shape.
But you're out of shape,
Right.
right? That Portugal is quite good with its hospitals in terms of international recognition and medical practices.
Yes.
Like, for instance, one of the best hospitals in Lisbon ranked 189th. Now you think 189th, come on, but this is in the world. Okay. Imagine how many hospitals there are in the world.
Yeah.
So it has an online portal for patients that can log into and use their SNS number, which is their health service number, to make appointments. And I think that one is known as Hospitalar de Lisboa Central.
So if you've got like chronic illness or you're fearing such a situation and you'd like to be near a hospital, Lisbon is quite a good shout. Or within,
you might want to do that with your prostate.
No, I've got my tennis ball. Thank you very much.
You should,
and I will be writing a book. Probably.
It's coming, folks.
If I could get Boris Becker or John McEnroe to do the forward. Never in all my tennis career did I imagine having held many tennis balls.
It at the park.
That's what I have to call it, smashing prostate.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Yeah, all right.
As a doctor often says to me.
I could give you I sniffed his tennis ball.
What was one of the notes on the back of the book? And we're still friends. Please carry on.
Okay. Right, okay.
Yes.
There's also got Hospital de Santa Maria. Yeah. Hospital, it's a country's leading university hospital located in the capital city. Now, the fact that it's a university hospital doesn't mean they're kind of like got a load of students practicing. It's, a
most
recognized,
hospitals do, don't they?
Yeah, but it's a recognized medical establishment.
Have you ever been in an examination and the doctor says, "Do you mind if some people watch this?" Have you done that?
Yes.
Right. Have you had the next stage of that, which is, would you mind if a few more people see what is going on in this examination?
I want the public come in.
Well, pretty much. A friend of mine. They said, "Do you mind if a few students?"
Well, if I get the video camera out.
No, it's fine. Do you mind if a few more students watch this procedure? No, that's fine as well. So, can you walk this way, please? Walk through into lecture theatre. Seriously, so maybe draw the line after the first when you seem willing.
Piece of advice.
It's incredible, isn't it?
There you are. Such a helpful guy, aren't
you?
Your
gown that opens up at the back.
That's so embarrassing.
In front of an auditorium,
and you've got your Harry's hanging out,
tennis ball hanging out. Go on, carry on.
Right. So also, so that's a Santa Maria dealt with, and leading university hospital, Institute Português de Oncologia.
The cancer hospitals in
Nuno
talks about these. They are world leading.
They are world leading, good hospitals. So you're not, and the same reflection in Coimbra has some great hospitals, and also Porto, I believe, is pretty good.
Yeah.
So really, from a medical standpoint, you're well covered.
And if you're a bit of an alternative health, complementary health person, there's a growing network of therapists and practitioners as well. I think they're pretty well represented in this country too.
And underlooked, I think.
In
general.
Absolutely.
So we should give those guys a plug.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Right.
Okay,
we'll have a live band one day, and they'll do that. They'll do that.
We get like an old guy,
and you can
like
sing at the end.
Go,
That's been great, Terence.
Clacton,
should we finish on a song? Music, please.
Hey, do you know anything about tennis balls?
I can't think of anything. I can't think of a tennis-related song that the big band behind us could do. Funnily enough. Anyway, go on.
Okay, so look. Hospitals, you're well catered for in cities. So healthcare, not so
that will be a consideration to have you think of living in a more urban area, proximity to hospitals.
What you've got to realise, is also the public health is good. So guys, and reasonably cheap.
Yep, and complement that with a private health
plan.
And
complement it with a private plan.
And then you're going to get as good as anywhere in the world with that complement.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Everything done. So feeling of isolation. Now.
Oh, man, yeah. This is a serious issue.
Double-edged sword for you, yeah.
No. I've been talking about this with quite a few different people recently. And it comes under the whole heading of integration. And how some people are like, oh, I don't want to live anywhere near people or especially expats, people from my country. And sometimes that can go pretty badly. I think you have to be careful. Hold on, Coach wants to join us on the screen, I think. Oh, is he? Are you saying goodbye? Or yes, okay, goodbye. I thought he was waving to join us on the screen to address.
No, so did I.
See you later, Coach.
See you later. Something.
And that's something. If you're a Portugal Club member, you can join us on the screen and heckle us behind the scenes as Coach was doing.
Yeah, we like a bit of heckling.
Now,
Gets violent.
If, for example, me and Mrs. M had ended up with our pile of stones in the central Portugal in the middle of nowhere.
This is what I'm coming to.
Yeah,
this is
it can go. It can go a bit wonky and awkward, can't we? So talk about isolation.
We'll bring that up because it's a very good and cogent point.
Yep.
Okay. One day somebody will explain to me what the word
cogent.
Who
Who doesn't like a cogent point?
Oh, cogent coming in. Right. So, feeling of isolation, low risk. You're surrounded by people, events, and services. Right now, the only sort of fly in the ointment is urban anonymity. Right.
Ooh,
it's kind of London effect, isn't it? Nobody looks at one another.
Yeah.
And if you actually talk to a person, they think you're from the north and should be like arrested or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So
as you walk past, say, "All right, Badook."
All right, love. How's it going? Yeah. And then oh,
yes,
he's got a knife.
That's right. Don't hurt me. I'll write you a check.
Yeah. So urban anonymity,
and some people want that, don't they? Some people want the city for that reason, to be anonymous,
to be a faceless, like a photographer or something.
No,
creeping
I
around
some
corners
people just
watching people.
Yeah, some people like that about being in the city.
I think you've got to be fairly strong-minded, haven't you?
I think so, yeah. Or avoiding things or on the run.
So feeling isolated for some, but easy to build connections. And that's true because you get a lot of expat organizations, international organizations, meetups. I mean, Eric, dear Eric in Lisbon and Pat, Americans came to Lisbon and are totally happy with the place.
Yes,
they love it. They wouldn't go anywhere.
They have
else.
a very inner city life.
I think they have a metropolitan perspective.
I've got other American friends who love they want the city buzz, and they find Lisbon an appropriate scale of that. It's not a massive.
There's plenty of buzzes in a city.
But they're used to very Number big places.
My favourite.
What?
Buzzes in a city.
Buzzes. Oh, buzzes. I've got you. Okay.
Plenty buzzes in it.
I've got a different. Yeah. Where's my trombone?
Yeah. So strong expat networks, obviously, and that goes for Lisbon and Porto. Yeah. Probably not so much in Coimbra, but they exist.
Yeah.
Co-working hubs and events, meetups, and international communities are common.
So that's what you got. City life, you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Life. So tranquility. That's another criteria that that I've introduced. Noise, traffic, and crowds are the norm. So probably not the most tranquil of places, although there are oases. Yeah. Can I say oases?
You can.
Thank you. Parks offer some reprieve.
I walked through the Eduardo 7th Park. I think it's Eduardo 7th, is it not? The great park that leads down to Marques de Pombal in Lisbon. What a fabulous park Beautiful. That is. Incredible. So, and Monsanto has got to be one of the biggest areas of nature and wildlife near a city anywhere in the world. Monsanto's amazing when you look at it on the map. The lungs of Lisbon, I think they call it.
And don't forget the zoo. That's always a good one.
Right in the middle of town, right? Yeah. The zoological gardens, they're fantastic. So,
So, look, you got all that on your doorstep. So, if you're looking for tranquility, don't go to city. Okay. Cost of living. High in Lisbon and Porto, rent prices have surged, especially in central areas. For instance, a family of 4 probably estimated monthly costs somewhere about 3.5K, something like that. So, it's not, I don't know how really that relate. I mean, that could probably still pretty cheap internationally,
eye-watering amounts, really. But there you go.
I'd say it's still pretty cheap.
People, by global standards,
to us yokels, that'd be
it's a lot of money.
That's squeezing the purse tight, isn't it? Huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, we've been here.
That's hurting me gross. Is that?
We've been here for so long. Like we used to buy beer at 90 cents a bottle.
Happy times.
Oh, happy.
This is where the screen goes black and white.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember back to the good old
It's
days.
not that much more, though.
It's
is
not
it?
that
Beer,
much more
beer
now.
is still cheaper than water.
I mean, look, let's be honest.
Coffee, 90 cents.
You sit in a, like, I went to Fage, I think, Fage d'Aurelio. I paid what? For what we call a Kaneka is more than a pint, isn't it? I think.
I think it probably is.
A bit more than a pint.
Big jug.
No, big jug. No jokes. And that was about That's about €3.
Mm.
Yeah.
Pint in London, I think, is going to cost you a little bit more than that. Not that I've been there for a
while. A little more than that, I think.
Yes,
Double, triple, depending on the venue that you go. And I don't know, if you get a little bottle of beer, gone are the days of 90 cents, really. But I don't know, 180, 150, something around
150,
there.
150 for an Imperial, indeed.
Yeah. Now, when you work that, what that is, probably slightly more expensive in dollars. And in pounds sterling, or as they call it, libras, the Portuguese.
Okay.
In libras, we're cheaper, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Still
getting that advantage.
By about 20%.
Yeah.
So think about that. I mean, that goes across the board for drinks, which is wonderful. So, so let's look at coastal resort life. We know a little bit about this, don't we?
We do.
We do indeed.
Yeah,
so,
of course, a massive Atlantic coast here in Portugal.
Yep.
From the Algarve up to the Green Coast in the north, heading up towards Spain. It's incredible, the coastal choices here.
Well, that's true. And we've got to include the Algarve because it is a bit different, isn't it, to the rest of Portugal? It's a bit more international.
I was talking to someone who's newly arrived here, lives in Sao Martinho, quite shocked being in the
How
Algarve.
can somebody nearly arrive here?
Newly.
Oh, sorry.
Newly arrived, yes.
I nearly arrived here.
Yes. No, they were newly arrived.
Newly arrived.
And a little bit shocked about what it was like in the Algarve compared to the
in what
the
way,
tranquility.
sir?
Like it was a colony, I think was the word they used.
Yes,
it has been colonized
by internationals.
A lot of Brits in the Algarve. A lot of sort of kiss me quick touristy places. It's very much about tourism. And it does feel like another place, a different place to what they've become used to.
But in many parts are quite exclusive, though. I mean, the golfing network down there.
I mean, there's a reason for that. I mean, it's a beautiful place, a part of the world. It really is. And there are some more tranquil rural parts of Algarve. Don't write it off because of some of those touristy places, because it's huge and very diverse. But in those touristy places, it can be a little bit of an assault on the senses.
I think we're particularly sensitive to that, though, aren't
Spoiled,
we? Because we live in an environment that isn't too touristy at all.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So, you're thinking, I don't understand why it's not more touristy, and that's not a wish for it to be so. But you're thinking, I can't believe it. This place is so peaceful and beautiful. Why are there not more touristy? Maybe because Portugal does have so many choices.
I mean, I think if you compare the Algarve to the Costas, in southern Spain, that's touristy. And I think it's a step down from that and probably a little bit more exclusive in parts as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you wanted a notch up from, and please forgive me, southern Spain, because I know you've got Marbella, etc. Probably the Algarve's a good choice. It's a notch up to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair point.
In fact, I can see the headline, notching up in the Algarve.
Captain Casa speaks. Yes.
Good notch. Right, so, let's start with healthcare. Good access, especially in popular expat zones. Private healthcare common with many clinics catering for foreign residents.
This is in the Algarve, is it?
Well,
or
no.
Coastal generally?
Let's be honest, we don't suffer from bad healthcare here in the Sao Martinho area. And I think what we're trying to say is anywhere where there's a lot of tourists, there tends to be a lot of Portuguese also, and therefore better health services in comparison to the central part of Portugal.
True.
Yeah. So I think that's what we're trying to say. So it's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
And so, you come over for a holiday, you're going and you have an unfortunate mishap. You're not going to suffer from being treated with pretty modern care and being seen quickly.
And on that first emergency level, every village and town seems to have a bomberos who appear to be the firefighters, but they're also paramedics.
That's right.
And they're never far away. 112, if ever you need that. And the bomberos are an amazing organization. So not just firefighters, but paramedics too, who will take care of you.
And also remember the private health scene, that especially in the Algarve, there are many sort of medical outlets and facilities and hospitals that actually do really cater for foreigners. Not so much the further north you go, but any major city, Lisbon, Porto, you're going to find the medical services. A lot of people speak English. And if you have something serious anyway happen to you, that's probably where you'll end up being sent to one of those medical centers. But locally, on the coast, medical services aren't too bad at all. So the Algarve has several public and private hospitals that take care of local population's health. There's sort of 5 hospitals in the Algarve: Central Hospital, Universitario de Algarve, Hospital de Portimao, de Lagos, Hospital Particular de Algarve, Gambelas. I said that very in Italian.
Brilliant, very good research.
Gambelas.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hospital Particular de Algarve, Alvor. Yeah.
Okay.
So
excellent
they're
stuff.
well covered for hospitals, and the medical scene on a coastal perspective isn't too bad.
Right.
Okay. And for all the guys in America that are used to paying thousands and thousands and thousands for medical care, it's a lot cheaper here.
Oh my goodness.
And actually, in comparison, it holds up. You know,
these costs are rising in the world over, and they are rising in Portugal, but it's still incredible value here. People are still shocked.
Yeah.
And are asking something like, is that for a month? No, that's the whole year.
No, that's the whole year.
That's
Yeah.
the whole year. I still hear Americans saying
And
that.
you can get seen.
Yeah, that's right.
You know.
That's right. Yeah.
So feeling of isolation. This is a good one. Now, what's your point of view? Living coastally, do you ever feel isolated?
No.
Now, you're a bit of a special case because you know so many people, don't you?
Right.
Yeah. So, but
well, I wouldn't. I mean, we live in there is Portuguese hospitality and friendliness, which addresses some of that, and there where we live, there happen to be, and I think all around the coast there happen to be expat groups, foreigners, and people you can bump into. So no, I don't.
Right. So
Well, I think some people do, but that's again is not necessarily to do with what's out there. It's their personality.
There
perhaps.
you go. There you go. I think it's there if you look for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, clubs, walking, surfing, paddle boarding, boating. It's all there, really. I mean, even fishing. I love going fishing.
So are you looking for fishing pals, or are you fishing for?
I'll
fishing
be honest with you. I'm one of these people. I don't mind my own time.
Oh, you like to stare at a float?
Yeah.
And contemplate.
Well, I've tried a tennis ball, and that was no good at all. It didn't do anything for me.
Yes. And then you're going to need a bigger boat.
A bigger hole.
Yes.
Oh no.
Do you think we need to do a part 2 here?
Probably. I'm sorry. I'm going on too much again.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Are you sure?
I think we should do a recap.
Right.
On where we've got to.
A recap.
And then we'll carry on in a part 2 of our and by that time I think other people will have contributed to the conversation, and we'll have a few questions coming in as well.
Brilliant.
So the main theme in this Captain Casa episode is how helping people choose country, coast, or city here in Portugal, the pros and the cons. You've looked at a few. How would you summarize what you've shared with us so far? And we'll carry the rest of it forward to part 2.
Well, really, we've sort of covered the cities mainly, haven't we? And we started talking about city and coast. We started talking about the coast, but there are other things that we need to talk about the coast. But on balance, if you're looking at a city, because that's what we've covered in this brief conversation, it's not tranquil. Yeah, there's a lot to think about. It's not tranquil. Let's be honest, it isn't tranquil. But I don't think people moving to a city really want tranquility. I mean, it's crazy. So,
hey, can I give another perspective on that?
Please.
They might like city life, but they might not like city life how it's become in their country of origin.
Yes.
So I think that's something that could be said about Lisbon, Porto, and Coimbra. If you like the buzz of the city, you can find it in those places without some of the extra paraphernalia and challenges of city life that people are becoming accustomed to elsewhere in the world.
Reasonable safety and security. That's what you're
that is absolutely what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, that is the great thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are areas where there are problems, but there is little sort of gun crime, knife crime. There's a bit of pickpocketing, etc. There's no real aggression towards foreigners.
No.
The Portuguese are pretty welcoming, and that they like, in general, foreigners, and they're pretty tolerant. And culturally, the life in a city is fabulous.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we got a lot of fado here, the bars, the food is sensational. So there's a lot of culture to absorb. The churches and the architecture are all marvelous, and there's a lot of history, in any city that you go through. And it's the same with Lisbon. It's the same with Porto. I mean, Porto's a very great case because it has the port tradition, the Douro, and all of that as well. So there's a big wine in both areas. There's big wine influence. So you got music, wine, culture, art as well. They're well catered for.
Amazing museums and galleries.
Amazing museums and galleries. So there's plenty to see, plenty to do, and you can have a happy life in Lisbon, in Porto, in Coimbra, because it's just cities that have got a little bit of class, culture, and they're very interesting.
Yep, and you can enjoy that city vibe still here without some of the added challenges that people are finding in cities around the world at the moment.
Definitely.
Right, we'll pick up on the coast again when we do part 2.
Okay.
And we'll go into country life, which is what you've begun to experience more recently, right? You've had a taste and a comparison, a contrast now between your former coastal life and living in central Portugal. So that's going to be fascinating, I think. Did you imagine yourself to be in central Portugal and living a rural life?
I did like the idea of it.
So we'll compare the reality of your expectations,
just leave it
and
hanging,
dreams,
that test,
and what the reality is of living in central Portugal.
Excellent.
Captain Casa, excellent to see you. Always fun and very informative as well. We'll see you for part 2 next month of Country, Coast or City. Here,
I got to come back next month.
You have. I'm afraid we're not done with you yet. Have a great day, everybody. Take care and bye for now.
Bye, guys.
In Portugal, there's a you-do